Let's go. Yeah.
For this play, this is where we wanted it.
Back, looks, throws, ends up.
Yes!
Caught! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! They did it! Oh, my goodness!
This is Inside the Pride, presented by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, and airing right here on the Lions TV network. I'm your host, Dannie Rogers, and in the next 30 minutes, you'll hear from head coach Dan Campbell as he looks ahead to Week 8 with Miami Dolphins in town. We'll catch you up on the current mindset of this team with our weekly player interview, and we'll shine a spotlight on Detroit Lions legend Joe Schmidt. First up, though, let's head out to Arlington, Texas one last time for the sights and sounds from Week 7.
Glad you're with us today. Let's get right into this game, which should be very interesting because Dallas gets Dak Prescott back. The Lions are hoping they can get their mojo back.
You had a bye week. You've had a lot of time to kind of reflect on what you've been doing. What are we good at? What are we bad at? Try to figure it out today and try to throw some curveballs at this Dallas team.
There's the shotgun snap to Prescott. He's back. He's in trouble. He's hit. He's going down. Sack back inside the 20-yard line. Aiden Hutchinson got him. Single back is Elliott. Prescott turns, gives to Elliott, right side, trying to get the edge. He is hit, knocked down, did not get it. Big-time defensive play for the Lions that time. Jeff Okudah coming up to support the run and forcing a Cowboy punt. That's huge. That is Khalif Raymond with a couple of blockers in front of him. That is 11 yards and a first down. They scrimmage from the Dallas Cowboy 48. Goff's got it, wants to throw, does, got it complete. Hockenson makes the catch inside the Dallas 40 and down the 37. Michael Badgley on to attempt the field goal. This is going to be a 40-yard attempt. Spot down, kick on the way. It is up and it is good. This is going to be a 53-yard attempt. There's the snap, spot, kick away. It is up, and it is good. He got it.
Got Noah Brown. What a hit. The ball comes out. Detroit has recovered.
Oh, my goodness.
They just turn them upside down.
Big takeaway here. Results in the Lions hanging on to a 3-point lead. 30 minutes to play here. Lions have a lot of work left to do.
Let's go to Tracy with Coach Campbell.
Coach, the adjustments during the bye week seem to have been paying off. How have you been able to throw them out of rhythm?
We knew we had to be able to stop their run game, and we knew we needed to get turnovers. We needed to be disruptive, and we needed to make them uncomfortable, and we've done that thus far.
There's the shotgun snap. Prescott back. Prescott hit. Prescott sacked. Back outside the 40-yard line. Aiden Hutchinson got him. Second one today for the rookie.
We're going to lose. You don't like my W? Look at that. That's a W. Okay.
Who else needs to step up?
All of them. Every one of them. The rest of those guys got to take on the load, share the load, spread it out.
Goff leans in. There's the snap. Goff looking, throwing, and is caught. First down at the 49-yard line. That's a first down and a gain of 19. Second and 5. Lions from the Cowboy 18, down 4, fourth quarter. Goff turns, fakes the give, throws left side, got it complete. That is caught by Brock Wright, picks up a block at the 5 to the end zone.
They're still waiting for confirmation, and they're going to rule him down just short.
So here we go. Turns, gives. Jamal Williams lost the football, and Dallas recovers. Are you kidding me? From what looked like a go-ahead touchdown to a crushing turnover. Job better done on this day by the Dallas Cowboys as they win it by a score of 24-6.
The Detroit defense is back on track with multiple rookies showing up Week 7 in Dallas. Defensive end Aiden Hutchinson recorded a sack and a half. Safety Kirby Joseph forced a critical fumble, and defensive lineman Josh Paschal made his NFL debut after undergoing core muscle surgery in late July. You'll hear from Paschal coming up next on Inside the Pride. Inside the Pride is presented by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and sponsored by Priority Health, Kroger, and by Henry Ford Health.
Hi, my name is Kendall, and this is my 4th season as a Detroit Lions cheerleader.
I've been very privileged these past 4 seasons to live out my dream as a Detroit Lions cheerleader, performing alongside my teammates in front of 65,000 fans on game days. I think my teammates would describe me as a hard worker. I always show up to rehearsal early to get a little bit of extra practice in before the full team shows up. If I was meeting someone for the first time, I would want them to know that I'm a very positive person. No matter what situation I'm in, I always try to look on the bright side. One of the things on the top of my bucket list is swimming with sharks outside of a cage. I think it'd be fun just to be able to say that I did that. Something a lot of people don't know about me is that I actually have a twin sister named Kylie. It was really cool growing up with her because it was like having a built-in best friend. Although we're twins, we aren't identical. She has dark hair, I have light hair, she has dark eyes, and I have light eyes. The best piece of advice I've ever received was from a former coach, and she said to always be the hardest worker in the room. You can't always be the most talented person in the room, but you have full control to be the hardest worker in the room.
Josh, last week you told us how excited you were to get back on the field. We know you've been nursing a core muscle injury. You had surgery last July. So what were the emotions as you stepped out onto the field against the Dallas Cowboys for your NFL debut?
Yeah, it was a lot of emotions. I was happy, joyful. It felt good to be back out there with the guys. And I was trying to control everything, because you don't want to, get too excited too early. So I just got ready for that first play, and then after the first play, I was in it, and everything just went smooth.
First down, there's the snap, gives to Elliott over the left side, hit and taken down. Josh Paschal with the tackle. Good work in there by the second-round draft pick, Lomas.
Absolutely.
What did you do to control those emotions?
I tried not to think about it as much. That's my thing. If I started thinking about it too much, I would get too antsy and ready to go like 2 hours before the game. But I had to just be calm and then let everything loose for that first snap.
Was there a specific song or playlist you had playing?
Nah, see, if I would have did that, I would have been way more excited than I was already. I didn't even need music for this game.
You've been sidelined, like I said, so you've gotten to watch a lot of football over the last 6-7 weeks, but you weren't playing. So mentally, how did you grow from being on the sidelines and watching?
That was my actual first game on the sideline, period. I would be in a box watching the game and things of that sort. So being in a box, you really see how fast the game is, and you get to go in the film room and learn from the vets and things of that sort, and watching film and all of that good stuff. So I just felt like I learned to the mistakes that some vets made and some other players made. I got to learn from those, and then the good things, and there's a lot of good things that the vets have taught us. That's what I got to carry on to our game, to my game as well.
Almost immediately when you stepped out onto the field, your first career tackle, how much pressure was let off as soon as you got that?
I wouldn't say it was a lot of pressure, because for me, I know that I was brought here to make plays, and I was like, they were not going to just draft me just to draft me. Like, they expect something out of it. So, I just wanted to go out there and fly around, and the plays will come. You just got to be able to play your technique and do everything right in order to make a play.
Head coach Dan Campbell said going into the Dallas game that they were tweaking things on defense. They were going back to some things they did last year. So for you to be in the playbook, getting used to a defense, then you're getting ready to make your first start and the defense changes. How difficult was it for you to balance those changes? Yeah,
it was a little different because I was used to prepping for everything as far as being in the three-point stance and things of that sort. But then they, changed some things where we could stand up and we'll be in non-techniques a lot. And so it just took a little bit of adjusting to do, but the coaches did a great job of prepping us throughout the week of practice, and that helped out a lot.
How did you benefit from those changes?
I benefited a lot just because even Coach AG, he said that it will help us see things better. And so being in that two-point stance, you'll be able to see a lot of formations and see what's coming. And so I was able to see some plays coming before it happened. 4
of the 6 draft picks from this past draft, rookies are starting, and that includes yourself getting your first start. How are you guys leaning on each other as you're going through your NFL rookie season?
So even me and Aiden being out there, he just said how he loved playing with me and I love playing with him. Hopefully this can be something for years to come. And me and Malcolm and me and Kirby, we're all close. I know Malcolm since we were training together in April. And so, we're all, the same. We're really all the same as far as hard workers and wanting to be out there to win. And I feel like that's what we need, and that's the attitude that we need.
Miami Dolphins are coming to town, to Detroit. Your family is also coming into town to watch you. Do you have to go over the whole process of getting over those nerves again, since it'll be in front of your family for the first time in the NFL?
Yeah, and especially in front of the first home crowd too, so I'll probably have those same nerves and all of that, but we really just want to go out there and get that win, get this thing rolling, and hopefully get a win streak going.
Welcome back to Inside the Pride. I'm now joined by the head coach, Dan Campbell. Coach, I spoke with defensive lineman Josh Paschal this week, just as he was making his NFL debut from rehabbing an injury. He said the defense changed a lot. He let out a big, nice laugh when he told me that, trying to balance the changes. Your defense came out with so much intensity. How consistent can they be moving forward with what they brought against Dallas?
Well, I feel pretty comfortable with the changes that we made over there. AG did a good job. Certainly the addition of Paschal and then having Kaminsky back have been pretty big for us. And look, it's the best practice we had of the year last week, and it's the best they've looked to in a game.
They'll need some more good practices going up against this Miami offense. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is back. He was in concussion protocol for a couple of weeks. He knocked off some rust against Pitt, but sometimes he's asked to throw the ball 50 times a game, and he can be pretty accurate when he does that. What is your defense bracing for?
Yeah, well, first of all, he gets the ball out quickly, very quickly. And then on top of that, I'll tell you what, you talk about coming off concussion protocol. I'm watching Pittsburgh, and one of his first scrambles, he ducks his head and tries to run right over the guy. So if I'm his coach, I'll be like, get down, would you? But here's a good look at him here. This is third down, and you look what they're doing with Waddle. This is about the longest he'll hold this ball, because most of the time it's coming out fast. This is third and a mile, and my gosh, he's an accurate passer. He's obviously a southpaw, and he's got receivers that can go get this ball.
You talked about the receivers, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, both with over 600 receiving yards each through the season. When you go through this Tyreek Hill play you're about to go to, how do you even start to pinpoint which receiver is going to get the ball in this game?
Well, you pinpoint they're both going to get it.
Yeah.
So it's normally when you have one, you say, okay, we can find a way to use some resources to at least help, get some help over the top. When you have two, it becomes a lot more difficult. And really, here's what it tells you is, all right, you're going to have to defend the run in a light box. That's a definite. So with that, man, we're going to have to use a lot of resources over the top for both of these guys, because they both run, they can make plays. We got to try to disrupt the line and help over the top. And that's not as easy as it always sounds, because theoretically here, they are in post safety, and this is why you really need a lot of two safety stuff. You can take one away, but now the other one's isolated one-on-one, and really the help's got to come from this backside corner, and that is not easy when you run a 4.06 or whatever it is, and both of them can fly.
Flipping sides to that Miami defense, Jalen Phillips, the linebacker, it's going to start up there up front, but you also have to worry about some interceptions. They had 3 against Pittsburgh, but when it comes to Phillips, a sack and a half last Sunday, what do you have to brace your offense, that offensive line for?
Yeah, look, did a lot of work on him. Here he is over the guard. Really like this guy, because certainly he's a very talented player, but he was high motor. He's got a lot of different moves in his arsenal. He plays on the perimeter, plays on the edge, but then they'll third down, they'll bring him inside and put him on a guard. So they're trying to match him against one of your least athletic guys and let him go to work. And here's just a good look at it. I mean, he can get an edge in a hurry. This is one of his moves. He just rips. He is powerful, and he's high motor and relentless. So he's probably the first guy we're going to have to be thinking about dealing with in pass pro. And we do that and get in a rhythm, I think good things will happen to us.
The Detroit Lions are back inside Ford Field for a Week 8 matchup against the Miami Dolphins. Detroit will also be honoring Lions legends as they come home for the weekend. Tickets for the 2022 Lions home games are on sale now at DetroitLions.com/tickets. You can reserve your seats now. Inside the Pride, presented by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, is taking a break. And speaking of Lions legends, you'll get to hear from the defensive specialist himself, Joe Schmidt, coming up after this.
He was captain of the Detroit Lions for 9 consecutive years, the NFL All-Pro team 8 times, and he was the Lions' most valuable player 4 times. It's indeed an honor for me to present a great player, a great person, and a great friend, Joe Schmidt. Thank you.
Every box you want to check as a football player, Joe checked it. When Joe Schmidt was drafted here, you would think that a guy who accomplished all he accomplished here in Detroit, you'd think he'd have been treated as royalty coming here in 1953, regardless of what round he was drafted on. Not so.
I didn't think I had a chance to make the team. They were champions. You read about Bobby Lane and Doak Walker and Leon Hart, and we played a preseason game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? Buster Ramsey came to me, he says, okay, he says, you're gonna play. He said, you're gonna sink or swim. And he said, you look good today. He says, you might have a chance to make the team. All my life I played middle linebacker, so they put me at middle linebacker that day, so I had an outstanding day. So I finally made the team, which was, I was very excited about it, naturally. And from there, it was a wonderful experience.
Look, he was a 7th-round draft pick, but for a modest beginning, almost an afterthought player and at that time, Joe Schmidt became what Joe Schmidt was, which, like I said, one of the icons in any sport in the history of Detroit.
Joe Schmidt was the prototype middle linebacker. As far as I know, he was the first. Joe just immediately was a cog on the teams that won championships in the 1950s.
Well, I think they became great with him more than adding him. But when you have a middle linebacker, especially in those days, it was a different game. The Detroit Lions saw the value of having a stud in the middle of your defense who could run, cover, tackle, make plays all over the field. And from then on, he was the middle linebacker.
Quarterback on O'Glenn fakes the pass. He's rushed, hit, and fumbled. Detroit's Lester Bigeman dives with the ball on Cleveland's 12-yard line, and the Lions get the first break in the game.
I think this is just my own standard. I have what I call every era players. Joe was an every era player, and you can look at the statistics too. 10 Pro Bowls, 8 straight times All-Pro. In a 12-game season in 1955, he recovered 8 fumbles. 8. Guys don't get that in a career now. Physically, the mental part of the game, everything. He had it all. He had everything. He was big enough, he was strong enough, he was fast enough, he was smart enough. But Joe, he was not just a great player, but he was a great leader too. People looked to him. He talked it, he walked it, he played it. He really did.
Joe Schmidt's uncanny accuracy for anticipating plays as one of the first middle linebackers in the sport of football earned him 10 straight Pro Bowls. You'll hear more from the former Detroit Lions player and head coach in part 2 of our Lions Legends feature next week. We're almost wrapped up here on Inside the Pride. Not before my Rogers retweets, though. We'll be right back. Before we wrap up today's show, we have to get to everybody's favorite thing in the entire world, and it's social media. This is Rogers Retweets. We've got babies, basketball, Jason Kabinda. I don't know what more else you could ask for. First up, we have to introduce you to the newest Detroit Lions Cub, and it is the sweetest little girl, Daisy Faye Decker. Her dad is Detroit Lions offensive lineman Taylor Decker. Her mama, Kendra, is doing fine. She's nice and healthy, and I know how much Kendra is dying to put this baby girl on the Cub cam at Detroit Lions games, but congrats to the Deckers. And we're saying hello. Congrats on the opening of your season to our neighbors down the street. Detroit Pistons opened up their season. This is Jaden Ivey. He's their number 5 overall pick, and he is sporting his late grandfather, James Hunter's Detroit Lions jersey. He was a DB for the Lions back in 1976 to 82. He was a 10th overall pick, tallied 27 career interceptions. So this was really cool to see Ivey sporting this into a Detroit Pistons game. Next up, our super back, Jason Kabinda, was named the Week 7 NFLPA Community MVP for all of the work he does in the Detroit Lions community, and it really is outstanding. Every single Tuesday, he has the day off, and he tends to spend it with the youth of Detroit. Really awesome what he's doing, but my favorite part of all of this, his mom, Natalie Kabinda, she's also very proud of him, got on Twitter to show it. We love that entire Kabinda family. So congrats to Jason for all of his hard work. It does not go unnoticed in the community. That wraps up this episode of Inside the Pride. Thanks so much for tuning in. Week 8 is around the corner. Detroit Lions hosting the Miami Dolphins in Ford Field. We'll see you there.